It's so nice that you all stayed and you all came back. Thank you. Did you enjoy the soup? That's complimentary to Auntie Darlene. Can we give her like a little big ups for her delicious. You can find Auntie Darlene on Instagram, and she's also at Smorgasburg on a Sunday. And for those of you who came too late, you'll miss corn soup. And if you want to know what corn soup is, then you have to come back next year. You see how this works? Thank you all. We are segueing into our poetry finale for day 2 of the Brooklyn Caribbean Literary Festival 2025. Our theme is Root and Remedy. And BCLF, as a lot of you all know, is a nonprofit organization, and we're powered by volunteer support and sponsorship. Our main sponsors, Hawthornden, NYU, Furious Flower Poetry Center, TSZ, Story Shift, Island Pops. Did I miss? And by the way, you should grab one of these. Our phenomenal graphic designer, Patrick Rassonive in Trinidad, and the Brooklyn Arts Council. They're the ones who lend us the money. They give us the money to make this happen. And money answers all things. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. But what's really special about this BCLF community is that we are powered by just that, by community. So we get money from those sponsors, and they're very important, and we hope to remain in their good graces. But that's a fraction of how we do what we do. The rest of it is driven by volunteer support, by donations in kind, by festival partners who are in the Caribbean space, may not have the cash to give to us, but they certainly give us out of their lack and out of what they are doing. And then the third part of that are the writers who people our stage every single year. When we put our programming together, and I hope you appreciate how intentional all of this is, from the top down to the very bottom, and we hope that this thread runs through, and there's this through line of continuity from top to bottom, from planning, graphics, programming, themes, writers. One of the things we try to do every single year is honor an elder, is to honor someone who has paved the way for the rest of us to walk. And a few of you may have heard me say this before, every civilization is made great by a body of work that they protect, that they write, that makes it to the scribal forms, and then they teach, they pass that on, like Elizabeth Nunez, our patron, who is not with us anymore in the flesh, but she remains with us in the spirit. And I have had very long conversations about, well, what makes a piece of literature a classic? And we came up with a few things, but one of those elements is that the literature has to be taught, it has to be pedagogical, it has to be passed on. And the BCLF tries, we really endeavor with the little bit of resources that we have, to make sure that some of those writers in the Caribbean space get the flowers they deserve while they're here. As a Trinidadian, I can tell you that we are very famous for bigging up everybody when they have long gone and left this mortal plane. The BCLF has endeavored that we will share their flowers for them while they're here, because they should hear it. You've gathered with us today to celebrate one of those elders, one of those elder stateswomen, not an elder, but an elder stateswoman in the genre of poetry, for Cheryl Boyce-Taylor. And it forms part, for me, it is the apex of our programming this year. It forms part of our Day 2 program strand for the Wandering Soul, which are stories of return and reinvention. And this program has been designed as a prescription to chart the return, imagine the self, and root us in the memory of where we began. Laureates of the Caribbean, because we have too many, we're focused on fiction, and there are lots of poets, and we try to figure out a way of how can we get all of the poetry inside of the program, not to compete with the fiction programming, but to offset it. And we've decided on a side A and side B format. Side B, we're going to experience afterward, is rhythmic and pulsating, and we hope celebrates the sound and the rhythm of Caribbean poetry. But Laureate Side A is a reflective register, and it's the first half of a poetic experience. And this conversation, we hope, will be intimate and ceremonial. We hope that it tells Cheryl exactly how much we love her, how much we appreciate her. It pays homage to poetry as a form of healing, as a form of writing our way through grief. Cheryl is a Trinidadian poet and the mother of the late Phife Dawg, a tribe called Quest. He was a founding member. And Roberto, with whom she'll share conversation, he is an Afro-Dominican poet, publisher, and elegist. And we felt like the pairing was absolutely perfect for a number of reasons, in addition to the fact that for an entire generation, and I think Roberto's generation and Cheryl's son's generation, hip-hop was this crucible that called everyone who was falling on the wayside and everyone who did not belong. Hip-hop was the thing that was drawing them into this space to create for them a sense of identity here in the diaspora. This conversation, we hope, will focus on Cheryl's work and themes of motherhood, migration, music, and mourning. It is rooted in a wider theme, and this event this evening is supposed to be both reading and ritual. It's a moment to honor the power of story to hold what language alone cannot. And from Caribbean folktale to hip-hop lyric, this session becomes a healing altar built from memory and verse. And no, I did not memorize all of this. I have this in one of those wonderfully limited edition programs, and you should try to get one or steal one from somebody else. Don't say I said that. But Cheryl's work, more importantly than anything, is a womb for memory, migration, and identity, and it offers readers a textured, multilingual understanding of what it means to belong everywhere and nowhere all at once. Cheryl literally writes for me as the mother of a 12-year-old boy growing up in Brooklyn, and I'm not an American, I'm an immigrant. Through this dual lens, Boyce-Taylor reclaims space for Caribbean American narratives with emotional depth and fierce tenderness. This conversation is the umbilical connection of Cheryl's self, both as mother and woman. In many different traditions, and in Caribbean traditions, grief is not meant to be hidden. There's a certain way that we almost celebrate grief when it happens to us because it's coming for all of us. If you're not a Caribbean person, I feel real sorry for you all. It is sung and danced and written and witnessed, but this session this afternoon is meant to be a grief remedy, a soft protest against silence and forgetting. And by placing these two master poets in dialogue, we not only honor the lineage of storytelling, but we invite you, our audience, to plant your own elegies in the fertile soil of language. Each of you has one of these keepsakes on your seat. Please hold them. They'll come in handy towards the end of the program, and Roberto will tell you why. And I'll tell you about Cheryl and Roberto as they make their way to the stage, please. Can you all have some, can we show some love for the lady of the moment? Thank you. Roberto Garcia. Mr. Roberto Garcia is an associate professor of English at Union College of Union County, New Jersey. He writes poetry and prose about the Afro-Latinx and the Afro-diasporic experience. Roberto's work has been published widely in places like Poetry Magazine, NACLA Poets and Writers, The Root, and others. He is a 2023 New Jersey State Council of the Arts Poetry Fellow, and he's also the author of 5 books, some of which are here at the Center for Fiction. Roberto is the founder of Get Fresh Books Publishing, which is a literary nonprofit. Cheryl Boyce-Taylor is a poet and teaching artist and a mentor to so many of us. She earned an MFA from Stone Coast at the University of Southern Maine and an MSW from Fordham University. Cheryl is the author of 5 previous collections of poetry: Raw Air, Night When Moon Follows, Convincing the Body, Arrival, and We're Not Wearing Helmets. And her memoir and poetic tribute to her son, Mama Phife, represents, we hope will take special place here this evening. Mama Phife represents One Publishing Triangle's Audre Lorde Award for lesbian poetry and was listed as one of New York Public Library's best books for 2021. Cheryl, among many of her acclaims, is the founder and curator of Calypso Muse and the Glitter Pomegranate Performance Series. One of her books, Limitless Heart, has been nominated most recently for the 2024, is it Pushcart? Pushcart? No. Firecracker, we just said that, Firecracker Awards. So thank you. Please stay with us. We'll try to minimize the movement for the session. Are we okay now? We're not okay. 1 second. We're okay. We're okay. They're going to start.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me to celebrate the wonderful Cheryl Boyce-Taylor. I'm so honored to have this opportunity. I'm incredibly honored because Cheryl is one of those folks who is working hard all the time to build community, to share her knowledge with poets, many of whom I know.
Thank you.
To inspire and to hold our feet to the fire to write every day, right? To be committed to write. And so she's one of the unsung heroes in my opinion. And it is so glorious to give you these flowers and honor you today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not gonna make you work today. I'm gonna do all the work. And we're probably gonna listen to this in a little bit, but I really love this poem, 1962, Everybody Pretty, right? And I'm not gonna do it justice because it needs to be read in dialect, right? With the Trini accent. And we're gonna listen to it, but I'm gonna read a little bit. Do you want to hear Cheryl read it instead? Yes? Why am I gonna butcher this? And I remember you said you wanted to read something for someone.
All right.
So here's your chance.
I
right?
got you. Look at
Okay.
you.
See? I'll be lying.
Thank you, Roberto.
You're welcome.
And thank you all for being here. I'm excited, but I'm nervous. When I start talking about Malik, anything goes, so be careful. 1962, Everybody Pretty. All the neighborhood children had good hair. Dogla girls with ribbons braided in their locks. Everybody pretty except me. All the girls have nice long curls except me with a few nutty dry peas for bangs on top. Press it, Daddy say. A good hot comb go do. A good hot comb go do, Grandma say. A perm go last longer, Tanty Verna say. What stupidness? Leave she here alone. That's Mommy talking. Everybody pretty, not me. Someday, you will learn to live with your beauty and your talent, child. Not everybody know to write, my daughter. Bless your little hand that chews the pen. May the rain gods water your tears and wash you of shame, darling. May sunset find you maturing, confident in your loveliness. Yes. That was my mother, always and forever.
Thank you. I first learned that peas were made by a company called Del Monte when I went to school, and they were like, "Yo, Monty," and I was like, "What? You peasy head?" Right? So I remember that. That resonates with me. And I also, when I contrast this poem with your poem, it's titled Black, and it's like this ode to Afrocentric beauty, right? To the beauty of black skin, to the beauty of curly hair. And I contrast these two poems, and I can't help think of the retired Dominican baseball player, Sammy Sosa.
Yes.
He went viral years ago for bleaching his skin and pressing his hair in green contacts. But then recently he's gone viral again because now he's black again.
Oh, okay.
Right? Right? So it's like, welcome back, Sammy. Right? So I just wonder, how how your thoughts have changed over time as we think about colorism and even internalized colorism and internalized racism based, because there's so much colorism in our community.
Yeah.
Right?
And in the Caribbean community as well.
Yeah.
You know, growing up, the good-looking people, light-skinned, long hair, they were the ones you saw in the bank. And you know, this has gone on for a long time. But when I came to New York when I was 13, and at the school that I went to, they laughed at me. Even the teacher laughed at my accent. So, and then, you know, I was looking at television and noticing there wasn't many of us there, and the roles were not so positive. So I began to grow in a different way. And my mother had already laid the law down about loving myself and loving my blackness. And so you know, by the time I had Malik and his dad and I was 19, his dad was 21, we knew more than anything else that we were going to praise his skin, we were going to praise his voice, we were going to let him say whatever he wanted to say. He couldn't be rude. But he could ask questions and make commentary. And we had a lot of African art all around the house. And, you know, those were the days of the last poets and Dick Gregory and all these people, so Muhammad Ali. So we were raising him in a really good time. And so that just stuck. That was the only thing we could do.
Yeah, you know, a lot of us sometimes we forget growing up, whether it be here in New York or in other urban centers, how among the diaspora, you know, whether it was folks who were from the continent of Africa, folks who were from the Caribbean or Latin America or African American, we had names for each other. You know, you African booty snatcher, you Haitian booty snatcher, you know, you Caribbean, right? We had all of these.
Oh yeah.
And so it kind of juxtaposed, I think, with these uplifting messages. So.
And then to tell you how ignorant we were, in Trinidad, the kids would call each other Black African Zulu. That was supposed to be the biggest insult.
Yes.
We knew nothing about Africans, nothing.
And to differentiate each other in that way. Just the internalized colonialism is wild, right? But I love that in the poetry, it is communicated truthfully, but with tenderness.
Oh yeah.
And I think that this is something your work does all of the time. You know, as one of our great poets and teachers, because Cheryl is also a wonderful teacher of the art of writing poetry, right? I'm always astonished. You are this legendary poet, and then you are the mother of another legendary poet who's a rapper, MC, right? Phife Dawg, Malik Taylor. And it always makes me wonder, what is in this Trini water? What is in this that y'all are drinking, right?
Yeah.
And it makes me ask, for you, what is it about being a Trinidadian artist, right?
Yeah.
That compels, for me, my question is that compels such brilliance, right? But what does that mean to you to be a Trinidadian artist?
Oh, wow, I'm so proud to be a Trinidadian artist. I remember when I first started writing, I told my father, I'm going to be the best poet, and I'm going to write in Trinidadian dialect. And he was just laughing, because he would never say, girl, come on. But, you know, he wouldn't. He wasn't that type of person. But that was all I had on my mind. And my father was like, okay. So, you know, he gave me the okay. Although later he said to me, why everything you write about your mother nice, and about me is bad. But he still didn't say stop writing. He was still encouraging me. But yeah, in Trinidad when we grew up, poetry, and even when my mother grew up also, poetry was a very big part of the curriculum. And I remember going out at an early age, my teacher would take us under the tree and we would recite. She had given us assignments. We would memorize it and recite it. And my mother was like that too. She didn't write her own poetry, but she memorized long poems and read them through the house to myself and then on to Malik.
Yeah.
And the other day I was thinking that Malik's grandmother on his father's side also liked poetry. And she and my mother were best friends in grammar school. And at that time, near the holidays, you would have to recite. And they would always come first or second and take home the prize. I was just thinking, wait, this is everywhere in the water. So, yeah, so that writing, I loved when my mother would sing and recite poetry, and I knew that part of that was for me too. So it was part of our culture, and I know a lot of Caribbean islands, many people can say that that's how they came by poetry, through the classroom, through family, and of course through Calypso.
Yes.
Of course, through Calypso, because my uncle was a die-hard Calypsonian. He didn't sing, but he would play the Calypso, and you know, after dinner, and he would say, okay, what you get out of this? What you get? Tell me what you heard, what you didn't hear. He was, yeah, I remember that so well. So in my family, there was always a respect for words. Always.
And we're gonna come back to that very soon. It would have been actually crazy if you would not have been a poet, right? Or if Malik would not have been a poet, because it's everywhere in the line. So we're gonna listen to a poem, two. And so we have a bit of a surprise where Marcia invited some folks to record some of your poems.
Oh,
yes,
okay,
yes. So bear with us as we press play. Crank up the volume.
I walked up their tall shoulders.
So I'm a teacher, and because I teach at a community college where the technology doesn't always work, I tell my students, print up your presentation and bring it just in case. So I printed up my presentation and brought it just in case. But we're gonna just give them a minute or two, because this was right. This was very thoughtful, and the recordings came out really beautiful. I almost let it slip a couple of times. So I was like, that's why I was trying not to talk to you, so I wouldn't.
Okay, now I get it. Now I get it.
Now you see why I was like running and hiding, right?
I was like, I need just a few words.
I was like, no, I'll see you that day, don't worry. You know, it's gonna be fine.
That's cute.
Well, we can always play it. And, you know, we were speaking of your pride in your accent, your pride in dialect. And whenever I read your poems, I always hear them in that way. I never hear them in this plain spoken way. So when you are writing, how, I mean, I guess for you it's just like breathing, right? It is that easy.
The dialect?
Yes.
Yes.
Right? Is that intentional?
Yeah, oh gosh, yes, it's all in my soul. It what makes me stay grounded.
Beautiful, beautiful.
I had this little thing where I say, I sit down to write, and here comes Miss Trinidad. Who asked you? Nobody asked you to come, but you're there. So next thing you know, I'm down in it.
Nice. You know, I can remember traveling to Dominica. I used to work at a medical school, and there was a medical school in Dominica, and I remember traveling with a lot of other Americans there, and them struggling to understand folks. And the folks would always say, I speak in English, man. I speak, you know what I mean? You don't understand? And it always makes me think of how willing we are to listen. Right? Because listening to and then understanding where the person is coming from, that is in the dialect, that is in the accent.
Yes.
And I think we got to appreciate that. I love this poem. I'm going to press you yet again. The Sia Marabella. And did you hang on to my copy of
no.
Limitless Heart?
Oh, Marsha has it.
Marsha ran with it? Okay. Okay, okay. As I think about this dialect and accent, I think also about the immigrant experience and how it has been vilified all the time in the US, but in particular now, where we have people literally being snatched up by Gestapo, right, off the street. And in We Are Not Wearing Helmets, you write poems about that early period here in the US.
Yeah.
Can you share with us what your experience was like early on when you came here?
Yeah, well, one of the first things was I was living in St. Albans, Queens. My family sent me to Christian school all the way in the Bronx.
Wow. Oh my God.
This is how important their religion was to them. But also, to be fair to them, in the year that I came, 1964, if you only came on a student visa or visitor's visa, you could not go to the public school. So yeah, because that was public and it was free for their citizens. I get that, but at 13, taking 4 trains to the Bronx, I did not get it.
Wow.
But it was my family's plan, and that's what I had to do. So the kids laughed at my accent. And, but I was determined to go on because I always, whatever plan my mother had for my education, I always knew it was right, whether I liked it or not. And so I did it. But in my family, that my aunt would have, somebody was always staying with us. Some family, some cousin friend, somebody. And they were always down in the deep Trini. So that was the only language spoken at home. And when I say language, sometimes if a friend came over, they didn't know what we were talking about. And Malik used to say, oh gosh, it's so loud, but he was practicing.
Yes, yes.
For his work. But, I'm forgetting now the question you asked. I'm thinking of last night.
What was it like?
Yeah, it was
that early experience here.
Yeah, it was very hard. But again, one of the things that has always carried me was my mother's prayers for me. My mother's goals and hopes and her hard work for me. So I put myself through it. But the first day we had a spelling test and I got 100. Honey, I got a few friends that day. And all that laughter stopped. Because I was like, okay, because, I think they think, Caribbeans or people, foreigners, let me say foreigners, aren't bright, they don't know this, it's not true. Mm-hmm. We get so much licks to be bright in the Caribbean. Right, Keisha, you look at that. I mean, so we had to be. I mean, it was when you came home from school, it was your homework. I could be walking in the street and hear kids getting spankings in their house, and it was for homework. So this is how important, and our families also believed that education was the only thing that was going to make us go far.
Yeah.
And you had to honor that or else be out of there. They weren't kidding either.
My daughter's in the audience, so when you said, I knew that what my parents wanted for me was the best, and I trusted that. That really,
yeah.
That resonates, but I was also a kid, so I get it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The sea at Marabella.
Okay, go. Sure.
This is Lauren K.
You want to play it?
And I'm reading this.
Yeah, we're so grateful to the folks who recorded these poems
This
that
is
we
Lauren
want to
K.
share.
Elaine.
Yeah.
And
I see you're so good, you take off your shoes.
She's home. She's in her element.
That's why it's working now. No shoes.
This is Lauren K. Elaine, and I'm reading The Sea at Marabella by Cheryl Boyce-Taylor. I want the pound of ocean by the sea in Marabella. I want my woolly, fat braids tied to fly ribbons, flapping like bird wings. I want my stick-thin legs running after Cousin Vilma's bike, begging for a ride, mouth filled with salt air and nutty sand. I want the loose butt of old women falling out of their too small swimsuits, their eyes halfway hidden under the rims of big Panama hats, their French Creole spicing up the dead jellyfish air. I want to churn the wooden ice cream freezer while the boys pack it with salt and ice. I want my Trinidad, her chest a finely sculpted bamboo bowl, her shoulders the bright jawbone of God. I want to feel the sting of hot sand, the pound of ocean from my Marabella sea.
Beautiful.
What we're gonna listen to one more.
Greetings, this is Ariel John, and I'm reading an excerpt from Everybody Pretty by Cheryl Boyce-Taylor. All the neighbor children have good hair. Douglas girls with ribbons braided in their locks. Everybody pretty, except me. All the girls have nice long curls, except me with a few naughty dry peas for bangs on top. Press it, Daddy say. A good hot comb go do, Grandma say. A perm go last longer, Tanty say. What's trippiness? Leave she here alone. That's Mommy talking. Everybody body pretty, not me. Someday, you will learn to live with your beauty and your talent, child. Not everybody know to write, daughter. Bless your little hand that chews the pen. May the rain gods water your tears and wash you of shame, darling. May sunset find you, maturing, confident in your loveliness.
It was for me, right? Didn't that make it so authentic? Right? Oh, man. Someone I know you knew.
Some water, right?
Yes.
Oh, making sure.
Eventually, we'll be pouring some of this to celebrate.
I want to make sure.
Marsha knows this is my brand. Like I love this. She knows. Someone I know you're familiar with, June Jordan, was being interviewed, right? And she said that poetry is a political act because it involves telling the truth. In the process of telling the truth about what you feel or what you see, each of us has to get in touch with himself or herself in a really deep, serious way. But if you're in the difficult process of living as a poet, you're constantly trying to make an attunement to yourself, which no outside manipulation or propaganda can disturb. And I was reading, your poem, A Woman Speaks. And in that poem, you write, for a long time, I wanted to be a poet, but was insecure about my writing and often talked myself out of that dream. I was hard on myself. The thing I loved as much as poems was flowers. I knew there was something to be learned by observing them. And I am so grateful because beautiful flowers always appear all throughout your poetry. And I appreciate flowers. I love nature. Can you share with us the moment being a poet became real for you? And thank God that it did. When was that moment and what was that experience like?
I had been writing for a long time and, grew up in St. Albans, Queens. And so I would always have little readings in people's backyard and things like that. And the Hunter College was honoring one of the rooms, I think it was the library, for Audre Lorde. And so my friend had been studying with Audre Lorde and invited me to go with them to the event. So I went to this event and they dedicated this room. And then at the end, Audre Lorde was walking around saying hi to everybody. Now, This woman is dazzling. She's brilliant. She's got this accent between Caribbean and America. She's something else. She was speaking to everybody, so I really loved her poetry, but me, nah, no, honey. So she came and she said, and who are you, you know, and I told her. And she said, and what do you do? I'm so silly. I said, I'm a poet. No, I thought, I really believed I was a poet, but not to tell Audre Lorde that. So she said, oh, really? She said, I'm offering a small class. This was her last year at Hunter College. I'm offering a small group class for women of color, and I'm inviting you to join us in September. And I was like, oh, I don't go to this school. And she said, oh, the school has nothing to do with it. It's my class. Come on. So this was like in June. And that whole summer I agonized because I knew she was no joke. And I went to that class. And let me tell you, I believe I cried maybe every day because she was not playing. And by the time I was finished with that class, I knew I wanted to be a poet more than I wanted to be a mother, a daughter, a lover. I knew that then. And I've written a poem, that poem, A Woman Speaks. It talks about, you know, the fears, about writing and what it means. You know, I don't want anybody to think you wake up one day and you're a great poet. There's so many stages through that. And if somebody gives you an opportunity like Audre Lorde, scared or not, tears or not, you better take it.
That's right. That's right.
And I was lucky to have Ntozake Shange. I studied with her for 6 months. Yeah. And she's the most brilliant person I have ever met. Her brain goes before anything else, before her mouth, before her thoughts, boy, she's something else. And she was always saying, the dancer goes to the bar every day. The poet must go to the writing table. She would scream this to the class. She was something else. But that's when I started saying, and I took the class with her because I really didn't know what a poet was. And I was determined to find out. And so I said to them, I don't have enough money to take the class, but I'd like to be her assistant. So some white girl had taught me that. A white girl taught me that's how you get in those classes for half price. I say, okay. I enjoyed the time. In fact, this book is one of the books. The Limitless Heart is dedicated to Ntozake Shange. And just taking classes with June Jordan, I was determined.
That's beautiful.
That's really what got me into it. Audre Lorde was the hardest.
Well, you know, this segues me into my next question. As I go around doing workshops and attending retreats, you know, I meet a lot of women. Some of them are married with kids. Some of them are single with kids. Some of them are just single trying to figure it out. And they all say the same thing. I'm trying to be a writer, you know, but they're coming up against these same obstacles, right? Motherhood, being a partner, etc. I always try to pass along the advice I hear from other women writers. So I would like to ask you, you know, what were you telling yourself during those times to keep pushing through and be a poet? Because I think other women writers would love to hear that. What you say to yourself to keep pushing through on that path to become a poet? Like you said, it doesn't happen overnight, right? You put that work in, so. Yeah.
Well, again, I really have to go back to my mother, whom I love so much. I knew that was her dream for me. She encouraged my writing. But I have to tell you that every partner that I haven't had that many partners because I do these long relationships. But every partner I have had encouraged me. They never interfered. When I said I was reading, I had 5 readings for that week. Nobody said, well, what about the food, or what about the kid, or what about the cleaning house? So you're very fortunate to have a partner that's like that, you know.
Shout out to those partners.
Yeah, shout out to those partners.
Because we hear the opposite so often, right?
I saw mine is on the card tonight. I was like, okay.
Nice.
So, but yes, Malik's dad, he would say, I don't want to go to all those readings, please, but I'll take you there and I'll pick you up. You know, it's always that type of support. And so I've been very fortunate with that. But I also knew that this was where I was most settled and satisfied and felt most confident as a writer. I have worked out so many things through writing, including the death of my beloved Malik. Writing brought me through that. And everything else I want to say, yeah.
So,
and I know it's for me.
Intozaki, June, Audrey,
Cheryl
Clark. Oh, the list is so long.
All them bad girls.
Can you share with us some of the advice they have given you, or something that they have taught you that stays with you?
Oh yeah. The summer I took, and I knew Cheryl Clark's work. And the summer I took a class with her, I think her book was Living as a Lesbian. And so I certainly was curious about that and wanted to know more. So I was studying with her and I was asking her all these questions. Who's speaking? Whose voice is this? I don't understand. Why is this coming up? She looked at me and said, woman, stop asking all those questions and just write. She said, because you're trying to make sense of it and make it literal. She said, you know, think of yourself as a medium through which work flows. And don't bother to question it. Wow. Write what they're telling you. And she's hard too, you know, hardcore. And then June Jordan was the same way. Once I studied with her for about 8 sessions, and this woman said to her something about, well, where do you live right now? And she said, what has that got to do with anything? She said, I want you to live in the book. I want you to live with the pen. Oh, yeah, you know. Mm-hmm. Like if you're all tender-hearted and scared, this is not for you. I'm serious. Mm-hmm. People don't know how serious writing is and staying with it, and even when you're not getting paid for it, or even when nobody's calling you to write, these things, you know, and you have a family to raise and everything.
Definitely.
So yeah, I just knew it was for me and kept with that.
You've mentioned your dad and your mom, and I think of the poem, which I love, For the Love of Tennyson and Langston. That poem where in the poem, the speaker's talking about their mother, and the poems they recite and memorize, and you talked a bit about this. And in another interview, you had mentioned that your father always gave you the space to say what you wanted to say, right? Regardless. So it seems to me like they were the precursors to Intozaki.
Very instrumental.
Right? They were modeling this free expression and also modeling the love of words, as you had said before.
Yes.
I think that's beautiful. What did that look like in your own parenting then as you paid it forward? Because I think you said you told Malik, you could say whatever you want, just don't be rude.
Yeah,
right?
Just don't be rude.
So what did that look like as you were parenting this up-and-coming lyrical genius, whom to me, microphone check, 1, 2,
what is this?
The 5 foot.
That
Is the illest entrance in a rap song just ever. I float like gravity, never had a cavity, right? Got more rhymes than the Winans Got Family, bro. What?
You know it good.
You know? Listen, that was the soundtrack to my youth. And Phife was always bringing it from the street, so I loved that. So, you know, what did that look like in your own parenting? Because it's beautiful to be a fan of the music.
Yeah, well, I was also following in my mother's footsteps with her parenting. This was something that he loved. This was because early when I was in the theater, I think I mentioned that to you tonight, and that my undergraduate degree is in theater, and so a lot of times he had to be with me in the theater because I didn't have a sitter. And my family was getting sick of me doing a play and dropping him off. So he would sit and watch what we were doing and be very into it. And then the other times he'd be playing and running. But I would say, okay, Malik, that's enough running. Sit down and write me a poem. And he would just do it. You know, and he was very young. And like I said, I would perform in people's backyards and everything during the summers. And one time I said, and I always said to him, you have to prepare a poem because you're going to open the reading. I always told him that, yes, always. And so I told him, this one has to be good because so-and-so is coming, it's a nice group. Like, you know, what he loved more than play is play. So anyway, I told him, so I want to see you writing it down and studying it all week. And so we got there, and I didn't see him bring up any paper. And he went up and he did this poem. So I said, you memorized that? He said, no, Ma, it's freestyle. That was the first time I heard about freestyle. I was like, okay, because it was real good. And I told him, all right, well, do freestyle then. Maybe I was too lenient as a parent. I don't think so now, though. I think, you know, the things that he was interested in, I let him do it. And then later on, after the divorce and everything, he was so sad that when he came to me with this hip hop, I just saw like flares in his face. And he was so happy. And I said I could never take that away from him. Yeah. I encouraged him. But when he came to me and said, I'm signing a contract, I'm going with Tribe Called Quest to Europe, I was like, oh, well, Malik, I think I would like to go to see that. He said, oh, no, that's not a good look for men. He said, that's not a good look for men. So I said, oh, you're a man. He said, no, I mean, it's not a good look for boys. Just was, I just couldn't, he was so happy I couldn't do anything to make him sad. Plus I knew he was a good person and that he wasn't going to mess up too bad. Yeah. Not more than I had messed up. So I just encouraged him, you know, and he was always constantly writing and he had so much confidence, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And one of the things is that when your child is doing something, support them. It may go somewhere, it may not, but give them the support because you'll be surprised, you know.
Yep. So. Yeah. You know, I think about you saying you always had positive partners, but you know, life is full of transitions, and you just spoke about, you know, before the divorce, after the divorce. How did you navigate that response? Because we know in the Caribbean community, sadly, it can be a very homophobic community. And so what was that experience like, coming out as a queer woman and writing and making that decision, right?
It was a very, for me, I never saw anything wrong with it. You know how people think, oh, these gays are going to hell. I never thought like that, you know, even when I was growing up. But I didn't sit and have a conversation with my mother about it because she couldn't handle certain things. I think we know what our parents can handle, so she couldn't handle certain things, but my ex-husband was okay with it. And that's the person that I was living with, so I decided that, you know, I'd be kind of low-key. We didn't break up for that reason. We just grew apart. We were 19 and 21 when we got married. So, but I tell you, my biggest fear about coming out as a queer woman was losing my son. That was the biggest fear of my life because he was in this homophobic business, you know, with rap and hip hop and all of that.
And We might love to nod our heads to the beats, but those 90s hip hop songs were very problematic.
Yeah, very homophobic. And so that was my biggest fear in the world, losing my child because he thought I lied, he thought I was disrespectful to his dad. Those were the things, and it took me a long time to level up with him and tell him the truth. At a very young age, he went away, so I didn't have to tell him too much because he was traveling and living in Atlanta and all that, but I eventually had to tell him, and it was rough for him. It was hard, but he wanted me to be happy, and that was the most important thing. Yeah, it was difficult, but I accepted it. It wasn't like I didn't accept it.
Right.
I just didn't know how to break this in a Caribbean community. And a 7-day Adventist. That's what
Yes.
I grew up.
Yes. I can imagine.
So that
My
was
goodness.
difficult.
Thank goodness for your bravery and your courage. Because listen, it's a lot.
I had to be myself. I don't see anything shameful about it.
There is nothing. There is nothing. So we're gonna play the next part.
I am Ariel John, and I'm reading When Her Child Dies, written by Cheryl Boyce-Taylor. When her child dies, for Malik. A mother does not know her heart will leap out of her chest with such force it will cause a rebellion. She does not know that her hands will be numb for weeks. She does not know her sugar will rise even though she has not eaten in 2 days. She will come to distrust her universe, her black-eyed Susans, her sweet Williams, the soil she loves to squish her toes in, sun hugging her aching shoulders, moon scurrying across her worn windowsill. She will mistrust them all. When her child dies, friends will come daily with milk, honey, cheese, red wine, spelt bread, and ginger jam, and she will not remember their touch. Only their eyes glossed over with tears. She does not know she will stop speaking to his father and threaten to sue him. Her hair will fall out in clumps. She will lose big spaces of memory. When her child dies, a woman will fight for her sanity. She will travel to Anguilla, beg Yemaya to bring him back as the ocean swells. She will listen for his laughter. She will press her face in the damp earth, call his name, Malik. Malik. Malik Isaac.
I find that grief is a chameleon. It comes in many disguises and colors sometimes. Outside of the stages of grief, it can show itself as joy, regret, longing, pain, right? You've transmuted what the grief is disguising into something more profound, right? The title of this is Grief is the Tonic, right? And I wonder if you can share thoughts with us, your thoughts on how grief can be made into a tonic. I think the book says it all, right? A lot. But if you could share some of your thoughts on that, I would appreciate that.
How grief can be made into a tonic. Well, in my world, I would say I accepted grief. And by that I mean, and we haven't spoken about Malik's health as a type 1 diabetic for many, many years, and all of the different things. He had a kidney transplant, and he was, when I first found out that he needed a kidney, they wanted to put him on dialysis. But at that time, I don't know what's happening now. But at that time, there were two types of dialysis, and one was where you go into the hospital or clinic and have it done. The other one is peritoneal dialysis, where you dialyze 4 times a day. And he told me, he says, yeah, I'm choosing that one because nobody's keeping me off the road. And so he did that one, and it was very hard. So when I found out that he passed away, and trust me, he was traveling, he had just come from Europe, he was doing his work. He was working on the Tribe album and his album, but he was struggling with his health too. And so when I found out that he had passed away, that was when grief became a tonic. I was, you know, I'll miss him till the last day of my life. But I was happy that he was not in as much pain and hardships as he had been in. He had been public about being a diabetic. He had not been public about the times in the hospital. I mean, he shared some of it, but you don't want to be sharing that with everyone because, you know, with the internet and all of that now, people say terrible things about other people. That's not true, because just to get likes and all of that. So when I would be falling apart, I would use that as a tonic. I would be like, Malik lived a great life for somebody his age. People live to be 100 and never get to do the things that he did. And outside of all that, he was a good man. He was a good man. And so I used that. The days when I was falling apart, I would use that as a tonic to help me. I'd think about the good times. I'd look at photographs and keep photographs up. And honestly, and I'm saying this to you, if you experience loss in any kind, whether it's a house, a partner, please let your friends and family help you. We can't be strong 102,000 days a year. We have to let people help us. And I let my friends help me too. My partner, Sini, and my friends. And I remember 1 or 2 of my girlfriends had called and they said, what can we do to help? And I said, bring the children. Because children don't know from anything. They'll jump on you. And, you know, so just be open to it and find it. And also, friends can be so magical. My friend Jacinia, she's not here tonight, your friend too, Jacinia Montilla. I remember when we got the news that Malik had passed away, and by that time, you know, internet was all over the place. So it was on the news instantly. And we didn't even have 5 minutes to really accept it. And she texted me and she said, I'm hearing some news about Malik I do not like. And she said, but if this is true, I will meet you anywhere you are in the world. Let me tell you, to this day, that would have me on the floor. And I just opened myself and let my friends and family help me because I am that helper to other people. Yeah. I've always been. And my nephew Mark and his brand new bride, I don't see them, but I believe that they're here. They're here. Oh, okay. My nephew Mark was young, very young then, and he said, and he and his dad were present at my side, doing everything with me. And then he called me one night and he said, Auntie, he said, I don't know what to do for you. I don't know what to do. He said, but I could take you to the cemetery.
Oh. Oh.
It was so hard. It was so beautiful. To this day, I always loved Mark. I watched him be a baby, but to this day, oh my God, I can never forget things like that. And I let him help me, and I let, you know, so I'm saying for grief to be a tonic, You have to let somebody hold your hand.
Yes.
You have to let somebody help you, you know. And because I was brought up, don't tell your secrets. Don't tell your secrets, don't need anyone. It was very hard to open up myself and let people help me. But learn that it is the one thing that will get you through any kind of hardship, even if you're sick. Tell somebody, because nobody's gonna know what you want or need, but they can find out.
Yeah.
So that's how I look at grief as a tonic. And then, you know, through writing or whatever it is you do, dance, music, I've worked my way to healing.
We're gonna play. We're gonna play the next poem, the final poem, Sugar, which I love. My youngest sister was also a type 1 diabetic, and you know, we lost her at the age of 33 due to complications.
Yeah.
And there was a moment where there was an interview, and I always call him Phife. I saw Fife's face and demeanor, and he looked just like my sister when she was going through ketosis and things like that. And I said, then I remember his line, when's the last time you heard a funky diabetic? And I was like, oh, snap. And I remember trying to use that as a way to like rally her, you know? But I love this poem, Sugar, because it makes me think about all of those times, the insulin crashes and all of that. But then the way you end it, I was laughing for 5 minutes when I heard that last line. Can we play that, please, Sugar?
This is Alexis Pauline Gums reading Sugar by Cheryl Boyce-Taylor.
How did y'all do that? Oh my God.
My pancreas was fretful and never did work well. The day it finally gave out, it ambushed my entire planet. From hibiscus to orange blossom, from insulin shock to hospital bed. The thud of ripe mangoes falling in thick mud. From nutmeg blurred eyes to dusty charred shell. From penicillin to Lantus, the ripe photographs of my life escaped through old boarded up windows. My sugar house cracked and folded in on itself. Part of my threshold gone forever. Dear missing pancreas, I love you, you strange and unforgettable bastard.
We're gonna ask everyone to please stay seated. I want to thank you, Cheryl, for bearing yourself here for all of us and allowing me to ask you questions, for trusting me with that. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
And I'm going to ask everyone to just stay seated as we play the final song. Whenever y'all are ready.
Marijuana joints make circles, hand to hand like a collection plate, brother to brother, brother to brother. How the urban animal bleats, shoulder bump, shoulder kissing, mouth hissing when they meet. Palms slapping languid days, back into numbness. When they don't give a damn about no one. Nothing shakes you, my son. They say in New York City, children under their fingernails, box cutters in their teeth. You enter tampering with the words. And even when a deceitful wind blows, messing up your tightly beaded afro curls. Not another stereotypic brother with a 40 in his hand. You ignite the riddle. Phife was the blues, hip hop and hot jazz.
Bajan girl in the house, Angela Winbush. You're my angel. It's so hard to say goodbye, 'cause I love you. So I'll see you on the other side. Fly, fly, angel. I will always hold you close, yeah. You're my soul. Yes, I'll see you on the other side, yeah. Brother to brother, son to mother. So I'll see you on the other side, yeah. Brother to brother, son to mother. Ooh, see you on the other side, yeah.
And I'd rather listen to you than James Brown, 'cause you be real loud, black and proud, carrying your love way down far so that only I could see. And I love that sly smile, just like I loved your daddy's. Your hand holding flowers, not guns, and everything about you makes me proud to call you mine. Microphone has been checked. One. I love you, Mom.
See you on the other side, yeah.
Like, go ahead, like what? like that. How did it sound like that?
Like what, honey?
Like, it was me and you. I heard you.
You did?
And me. It didn't sound like me, though.
I thought it didn't sound like you. I thought it sounded like you.
And it was funny.
What?
It was funny when I was talking on it. I was talking on it.
Is your foot coming out?
Yeah. No. Right there.
Thank you. Thank you. I know.
That was Angela Winbush. Please give her a hand. Now you're gonna make me cry. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you.
We should have gave y'all Kleenex when y'all were walking in.
Oh my goodness, this is so beautiful.
Yes, thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. That was his first introduction with a tape recorder. He never stopped loving it.
You got it?
I think so.
Yes, okay.
I genuinely think that there are some moments that you just allow, you just have to like allow this space, and there's nothing for me to say, but thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roberto and I have been conspiring for about a year, Cheryl.
Panic texts going back and forth. Panic texts. Hey, thank you. Thank you.
That's funny. I was getting so mad and telling Sini, I don't know what they're doing.
Did I tell you? I told you. I said, Steve, better stop messing with Cheryl. Don't be asking her too many questions and all.